Hi there. So, welcome to the audio clip 2 for the rest of your code for the day reading example for December the 8th, 2023, as we're following the order of catching up on December audio clips read, okay? So remember, I wrote inside our folder, if you want to write on the yellow sheet, make sure you remember the 7 color spectrums, and cast away thy fears and lighten the way, okay? So if you want to, you can print out some things to build your folder. So I had to go print me out, kind of where I want my representation for my symbolization to be. Okay, so we have, and also make sure y'all print out the whole Tunisium Codex, okay? So you won't have to worry about if your phone goes off, electricity happen, because all of these things are off a satellite. You'll have what you need to actually continue your studies, as they say, when the lights go off or anything concerning that. Or, if anything, your phone go dead and you're in the middle of your studies, you don't have to worry about keep going back and forth on your phone, especially if you have a lock code. So it's just easier to print out the Tunisium letter format along, so you can, pay attention along the way and able to go right to it in your book. So I want y'all to definitely do that when you get a chance. Print out, because you're going to need that along the way of our studies of code, especially when we do our anthropology reads, okay? Also, make sure you did your homework. I will be working on this next after our clip. In the next clip, I will be putting the answers for the Hebrew calendar, and so you'll have it on the side. But I always do my roll call in the English, because right now they're going off the English time. So y'all birthdays will be of your identity will be based on the English. So I'll call y'all based on your reality of what we're under as far as your identity would be those codes of English calendar. But when we're doing our sacred calendar, our divine calendar, to still stay on time with the, the invisible, the spiritual, the natural world, we'll use the Hebrew, okay? So I will be filling it out for you all. Remember, you're always going to have your codes each and every day to do. So we already went over that, January, year 8. Make sure you write it in that format, codes for the month, which is the 11th month in the first month in English, but the 11th month, okay, for us in Hebrew, we're still in 11th month, right? So remember, we did all the codes for each day. You're supposed to get 1 or 2 codes. Now, there will be a few days where you may not get one, but all in all, by the end of the month, of the 30-day period, you should always have 30 codes. Just always remember that. You should always have 30 codes. All right, so I did print that out so that'll make it easier for me. Okay, so first we started with the supply list, which is the binder with the codex index, right? So I want to make sure y'all get these. Okay, you can't get a binder. And there's the folders are going to be for the educators and teachers. So I'm building one format for the teacher part in the educational part. So this is the educator folder that I'm doing. I'm perfecting and making the sessions on how it's going to be sections off. All right, so I did do this for the apology read, so make sure you print that one out. So this would be your codes. So that would be all things like your codes, okay? All right, so let's move to the example that we're on, which was 12/8. Okay, so we was on 12/8/2003. So we're on the part of catching up. Okay, so now we're revealing the TAO spirituality way, which is the creative spirit, okay? And so this is the first part of everything that we come to surface, all right? So I did this on December the 26th, 2024. Remember, today is pink code because it's a Friday. So 12/8/2023 was a Friday. So the Hexi block is already posted for as your codes for your topic of your research discovery within your business professions are already posted for y'all to do y'all individual, appliance according to, our reality. So this is our other way of our method. So hey, Aleph clap, right? Aleph clap. So I like Aleph clap stuff inside of music, like something of, kind of beats and stuff like that. So that's kind of like how I do musicals. So I like to not, kind of give you a wave, balancing it out, but also, not like making people fall into their depressions or not, overstimulating their emotions, but kind of keep them in a tone base, fun, excitement, and joyfulness. So I try to bring that too, as well as a great message or a very reasonable understanding and a fun message. Okay, so that's when we get to the music part of things. I will have little notes were concerning the music part. So definitely when we're inside of the art field, for my team support of the music side of things, the first one gave you part of the clothing side of things that I'm going to have my support team do, so we can all be at the table doing things that we're, alignment together. So information. So the triangle represents what? Recycle. So we also remember what? Shy code, recycle. No one can get to the top unless they recycle things that they have been given in earth freely. So everybody has a profession based off of earth resources. So we all are using the same resources coming from the earth to build our perfections or our professional care work inside of this life, so we can get a currency, which what? Current wire, right? So we can build things and have a living for the body, okay? And so it's a reciprocation, or it's like a receptive energy of circle. So the woman represents the receptive energy of the circle. That's why inside of their reality they have the law of water is money. Okay, but they turn these things into prostitution, but I'm turning it back to the pure state that it was also being representative, like, the way we're supposed to be looking at these things. So it's a recyclement. And so, building, doing things, being a helpmate, doing her task, role, things like that. So it represents her triangle, a receptive energy that goes around in a recycled way. Okay. And so the circle represents the fixed cycle of natural order of energy. So the darkness of life. So when I put the G inside of the square, okay, all right, so G, and so then I put 0 around it, represents the sun, okay, sun. Circle outer represents the outside energy source of the green energy, okay? So G represents green energy, P represents purple energy, okay? All right, and so the inner circle represents the protection, okay? All right, from the outer darkness, the purple energy. So the purple energy is represent our inner world of our perfection. It's more of like dealing with, like I said, purple, what represents luxury, our eye to want to be clothed. It's like, fashion, our luxury nature, okay? That brings upon our perfected, because we want to perfect what we're working on, so we can have a lot of customers, we can draw a lot of people wanting to buy it, stuff like that. And purple is like one of those colors that just draws the eyes, right? And so green represents our outer, okay? So it represents the dark, around us, that protects our inner God, okay? So our inner God energy is always green because of earth. We love earth. Earth is our core heart. So we keep earth sacred by the protection of the circle around us, which people notice is dark or whatever. A lot of people are afraid of the dark, so they'll run from it. It's very few that'll face it come to the dark, get the truth, and be like, you know what, this is not what I thought it was, you know. So a lot of people are scared of the unknown, so it's definitely a force to be reckoned with. You know, not everybody can dive in there to get the truth, or in the middle of what is being protected, which is God, green earth. So when we fall to earth, you know, this darkness come upon us, around us, so we're not able to understand ourselves. So that's when we're moving inside our inner core, where we're in chaotic mode, you know what I'm saying? So but when we understand these things, then we begin to be peace with ourselves, peace within ourselves. And so when we find our earth in us represents our human form, our greenness, our empathetic nature, our, you know, natural ability to love, okay? When we find our inner world, our purple energy, okay? When we understand our purple energy, and being able to manifest things out, so we can bring attraction to ourselves, luxury, finer things, stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, that a little bit everybody likes, right? So instructions. Next, we'll be working on my Tunisian punctuational key, like a punctuational key, which is a guide for the speech and grammar, which I decided to do Aramaic instead of French, okay? I may just use French as adopting certain words, or maybe use them as the punctuation. But for the grammar part, I'm going to use Aramaic, okay? So I did our letter C, because we're on letter C now, revealing my codex and putting our Tunisian symbols with it. So that's your symbol for letter C. As we went over, go back to the notes that's printed of the alphabet, and you'll see. All right, so codes. Remember to always do your little arrows. Sometimes I do different arrows to denote for my geology people that's along the way of learning the geological understanding, how they learn. And so when I do the arrow, y'all know I'm going to do y'all codex too, so y'all know, like, okay, this is what direction that I'm taking inside of the code. So then I'm giving you the visual of me walking through my spiritual maps. So if y'all haven't watched her lesson about our faith, about how we move inside of spiritual, the angels, our historic body, when we sleep, when we're in our other state, in the other world, how we move according to codes. We move according to spiritual codes, you know what I'm saying? So just like in this world, when they came and found America, or they go discover things, they have like maps that lead them there. So if you can understand in Earth, they have maps that lead you in our physical world, then you understand there's maps that lead us into our afterlife, our spiritual world, while we're living and when we're dead, okay? So you'll understand that where I want y'all to head with the next direction with this. So I would definitely touch base on that eventually. Give me, you know, time, because I'm actually self-creating all of this. All right, so we did our number codes, right? So we got 1120. Okay, so I'm gonna go over this in a minute. Again, I told y'all to be patient with me. I do have to do the roll call for December. I already did January's, and that's what's up. I'm going to do all the codes for December roll call, so y'all can catch up with that. And so right now we'll just take it a day at a time. We're still, you know, building our understanding of our examples, and you know, revealing more of the symbolization and more of the letter codes for we to get familiar with, because it's not gonna happen overnight. Don't think that it will, but we're gonna get familiar with these things, okay? So it takes time. We gotta learn this like we learn. Go sit at their schools, and in your physical reality, you go sit at school, you're at a desk, you gotta learn your codes, your language, your math in school. This is something of a real school. You're gonna have to learn these codes. You're gonna have to learn my way of speech. So all of this takes time, and I'm not pressuring y'all, and I know y'all not gonna get all these things overnight. I don't want you to. I want y'all to take your time with it. So this is kind of like me starting off with a lot of milk base. So this is a Shift Academy. Is, like I said, for the 17 to 25 age kind of understanding. So it's taking your time, perceiving the information, so we can get to, a better reprogramming for society, right? So we can get a little bit better at understanding these ancient documents that a lot of people, the old, the wise, they understood a little bit, but not as much. So we're just trying to deliver the rest of the things. So 11/20, that is the date, okay? And then we got the date of 9/18, all right? So your double is double 2 and double 9. So remember, when you get your double numbers, that's your code. So we start off with what? 2299. 299. And then guess what? We started rearranging. Remember, there's only 4 ways that you can rearrange 4-digit numbers. That is a fixed method of numerology. So we have the code 2299. So now we can make it 9922. We can make it 9292. We can make it 2929. Okay? So let's discover what our codes have brought us for today. So we have the results is double 22 and double 99. The conclusion, we have codes 2299, 9922, 9292, 2929. So our finality report would be December 8, 2023. Gave expression of code 2299 in completion of code 2929. So always write it like this, because you're going to do the first, which is 2299, and your last code that you give in your rearranged order will give you the completion. So basically you're starting and you're saying, hey, I got the code 2299, so I'm in completion to the code 2929, which is my final code that I was given. So that means what? It's completed. When you complete something, that means you have done the task. You completed what that particular discussion was. So our particular discussion was the finality report. So we are concluding in the completion, which is the last code that reveal of the information, and we're done with that, okay? So your personal read is 9.18 date. So I chose September 18th date, which would be on the Hebrew, I believe it's going back to a July month. So you probably be 0718 on in July, right? Okay. So the reason why I chose that one, because it was a divine birth. So we decided to choose that. I think I had a really great friend in middle school. She was a female. I believe she went to the military. She had a girl. I think she had a little girl. I'm not gonna say your name. You know who you is if you understand. But anyway, so yeah, so I think you went to the military, but how are you? So you were one of the girls that I think you went with me when my mother did me a small birthday when I was up inside middle school, and we went to the movies or something like that. I remember in my memories you and 2 other girls, and one of the girls was one of the actually bullies that jumped on me in elementary, but hey, I forgave her. We all went to the movies, I guess, right? Or it was that constant need for y'all to be around me. I don't know. But anyway, I kind of, out of all of y'all 3, she never really did anything to me. You had a sweet spirit. We never had a fight or anything, physical altercation. But yeah, I seen a lot of girls, and too much was hating on you too as well. You had a bright future ahead, and now you know why you had such a difficult time. You had this vibrant spirit. You had a good spirit. So I never sensed anything from you. You were pretty a decent girl for me. Anyway, so information, research information. So you're going to research information and seek your professional person, right, for additional support or details. Okay, so that's your information. Your information, I usually will give you something like seek the audio clip, seek your information, seek your professional or your licensed counselor, or seek within the means of the block of the information given from the person that the creator or the Earthlings or something like that I would put. So code 2299, okay? Code 2299, which is our first code. So let's discover a brief understanding of what code 2299. So PS 2299. So I decided to do a mechanic support code, which would be stands for the brake pedicle, right? The brake pedal position incompatibility, which has a different definition on the manufacturing. Okay, check. PCM. The common cases of 2299 code, all right? Wiring issues and illuminated engine lights. Okay, which is a Dodge Ram. We're going to go with a Dodge Ram, which my mother had one of those vehicles. My dad bought it for her. Well, went and got it for her, and that's when I bought the Nissan from her, which was my first little car when I was like 17. Bought it from her for $1,500. I love that little Nissan. And then my dad got her a Dodge Ram. I think it was with the chargers in the back of it. I don't know if she still got that vehicle to this day or what, but yeah, she had a little problems. I noticed another lady, matter of fact, I noticed several ladies within the city was having a problem with their Dodge Ram, so back in the day. So yeah, so Chargers, when they first got out, everybody loved the Charger. Everybody wanted a Camaro or they wanted a Dodge Charger. Like, I used to wonder why, but that's somewhat in my city. They always wanted a Camaro, a Dodge Charger, so they went and got these cars when it first came out. And I remember like the 2009 or 8 ones. Y'all may want to go back to see some, understanding of what was happening, and a lot of people was having problems with them, and they were having extensive amount of like issues and having to pay $1,000 of repairs. I think they did end up having to do to her car, that the car he got her. Well, she didn't like it. She liked her Nissan. But yeah, she's not the only one, and that's why I say I look back and there's a few people had a problem with their Dodge Chargers. Definitely, yeah, that. Because I think their Charger, like I said, is in the back. Weird how it's created, right? And so the 2299 code is our U.S. code, which is the secretary is authorized to acquire by purchase, exchange, or otherwise non-domestic sources and utilize such material for such purposes if such materials are not available from domestic sources for environmental or economic reasons. Okay, so they kind of authorize the U.S. The Secretary, the Treasurer of State. They usually just authorize all the purchases in the lands for the business after you go get your license, or you're operating on your own name, your own creative work or profession that you want to do in the land. And like I said, we're going to go over many things that people can do that's based on a personality interest and based on their destiny. We'll go over to help y'all discover the ways y'all should go, okay? Because it's about putting people where they are fit, not putting people to what they desire they want to be in, what they feel they should be in, but people that are actually supposed to be in the position and be skilled. So that's a lot to do with management, the Secretary of State, knowing how to balance the books and different things like that. I think it's a good and interesting jobs. It could be a leaper thing, but we tend to lead more on the attorney and forensics lab, coding, the attorney, and like the law business of it. Like the business is law that deals directly with the people. It's kind of more of the leaper thing. Okay. So code 9922, which is your CPT code 9922, the inpatient or the inpatient hospital care, the comprehensive history, okay? So I want to make sure that y'all get a little bit of tea or get y'all something to work on too as to in your profession. So I think that it's important for y'all to study. So we'll say this could be one of your homeworks, or if y'all already studying with the professionals on your YouTubes or your professionals inside of your community colleges or different things in the world. Y'all can be focusing on the inpatient hospital care, comprehensive history. So the HPI, history of present illnesses, okay? And so that's your 9922 U.S. code, which is 6 million limit. The secretary may, okay, for grants to public and private, okay, agencies. Provide for community, local, statewide, and natural, okay? Okay, and natural programs, all right? So I think that's a good number, 6 million limit. I would like to see it gets to 10 million because I think that's a fair thing and it'll be a completion. So we'll see how it goes if they do. But so yeah, so I want y'all to study them patient form. I'm going to look over it myself. Hopefully, like I said, when I'm able to get my computer and my print, we will be actually printing these things, putting it on the board, filling it out for you. So I will give you the example of filling it out as your educator for you, for the teachers, instructors to give to the educators and the students, okay? So I'll do it, show y'all the example how to do it first, and then y'all just go along with it, and then that'll be way all the students will know how to fill it out, how to, you know, memorize it, get it informed, so when y'all are taking y'all big exams and your tests, okay? So to coordinate private and public food assistance resources, grants, recipients, okay, involved determines to better serve low income populations. So thank y'all. Hope y'all can get that up to 10 million. All right. And so we're going to do to assist low income communities to identify potential sponsors of child nutrition programs in undeserved areas and to develop innovative approaches at the state and local level to meet the nutrition needs of low-income individuals, okay? So the spiritual insight would be of 9292 would be, and shout out to all my generation that are born in 1992. So let me give y'all some spiritual food now. So your spiritual insight would be your numerology, okay? And so you are the aura of mastery, okay, year. So you have understanding. Y'all are foreseeing, brilliant, constructed, gifted, and transformational, okay? All right, so the HCPCS code for digital visual therapy. Some of y'all can be part of that in our society. Software only, supplies, and equipment. All right, so Republic Act number. All licensed professional electronic engineers shall obtain and use a seal of a design prescribed by the board, okay, bearing the registration, right? Name, registration number, and title of your business, all right? California code, we have the lab, employment, relations, and termination, labor code, article 4, chapter 2, okay? So now we're on the California code, which will be, hold on one second. Okay, yeah, we on, that'll be 2929. So now we on the California code, which is 2929, okay? And so this one talks about the lab, the employee regulations and termination, labor code, article 4, chapter 2. So the garnishments means any jurisdictional, okay, so means any judicial procedure through which the wages of an employee are required to be withheld for the payment of any debt, okay? No employer may, okay, so no employee may discharge any employee by reasons of the fact that the garnishment of his wages has been threatened. No employer may discharge any employee by reasons of the fact that his wages have been subjected to garnishment for the payment of one judgment. A provision of a contract of employment that provides an employee with less protection than is provided for, okay, or by. This subvision is against public policy and void, okay? So that's why I like a lot of, and I have been looking into getting a lot of codes from California. Actually, you know, I'm kind of surprised they actually have some good laws. It's not all bad compared to a lot of states I done lived, or you know, surely we're going to be learning more about different codes in different states of U.S. Yeah, California really have some good protected laws, so I'm not knocking the things that they have. So another thing that I want to tell y'all within our summary, which will be coming in a minute, I'll touch base on a few tips that I want y'all to remember within traveling in Crossways, okay? So summary is to seek, okay, anthropology read for 9/18 date, which I already posted that, and you'll see it as the green with the hands, Earth, okay, audio clip to address Americans, okay, and so it's already posted on the YouTube, so y'all check that out. All right, so my SY agencies, which is my brand for Shaya Arts Brand Incorporation. Okay, so I'm building a 10-person business. A company is when I get, as they say, more than 15 employees, but I'm not trying to get that big right now. I'm just sticking into the small business. So I would like to do small business, projecting about 1.2 million a year. Just staying inside of that with my clothing, music, and my nonprofit organization, where I want to build I wouldn't call it a nursing home, but I want to have like a small hospital form kind of unit for my patients, for my elderly, my disabled people, where they can actually have, it'll be a live-in unit. And like I said, I want to start off with like maybe a 10 to 15 apartment unit, okay, where they'll be under my care of 24 hours. And because I know it's important to still have that in the lens when people have outlived their whole family and they have nobody to take care of them, or when parents or need some additional support because they done had a lot of other kids and they can't really have the work that, you know, the time needed for maybe they disabled child that's adult. So I'm doing it for the disabled adults, because if parents could persevere until the child got like 18 and 21 and they did it, I commend them. That's a lot of work, especially if you're a single parent at that. So once you deliver them to me, you can know that they'll be okay. Now they can live their journey as being an adult in the world, learning skills, learning things. And also when we go back to a child state as we get elderly and we need help and we need assistance. So it's kind of, like I said, the 21 to age 70 range. So I'm doing 21 to age 70 range. I love kids, I love babies, but I tend to like to deal with more of the adults stimulation of helping within the disabled community, because it, you know, I don't mind carrying children all the time and all that, but you know, it kind of gets weighed out, especially when I'm living life and have to deal with my own child and nurturing and all that. So that'll be too much to have that double at the same time. So I like to spread out the timing of things. So like if I was to do this right now and I had a newborn, it would be fine, because I know I'm not going to work and dealing with a newborn. You know what I'm saying? I'll be going to work dealing with, okay, disabled adults or elderly. So it won't be like a double work. So as we say, make sure you don't overwork yourself. So like I say, a lot of people cook at home all day and then they go cook it for a restaurant, or they go clean all day at home and then they go do a cleaning job. You know what I'm saying? So it's important for you not to get jobs where you're overworking yourself 24/7 in. So make sure you look at it from a business standpoint and a personal standpoint. So you want something to kind of balance you. So my goal as being Libra is to help people balance their inner self. So how do you balance your inner self? You find that bridge of your personal and your marriage, how you can make both of them become one inside of your reality. So that is the purpose for this, okay? So I can definitely teach you how to balance your inner self world, so you can kind of live the best of both worlds. the wicked side of it is what? Living a double life, as they say. Living a double life. So I'm bringing a living a double life bad thing into living both of your lives in one. The best of both worlds is what I really represent. Okay, not living a double life, not living a lie. Those things is on the dark side of it. So when we come out of those things, we understand now how we can do it on a rightful notion, right? So I present to y'all my unscrambled board game. So I came up with this fun little unscrambled board game. It's going to be amazing. I think Zuka would be like my cube math game that we play. My Triagram would be, like I said, my design and art maker. And so it'll be filled with like my custom designs and different things of my own creation for like designing for like albums, covers that people can probably consider album covers, you know, clothing, different symbols for their clothing and stuff like that. And so Arts A coordinate, it would be the studios. Hopefully one day I can have like a small little outfit there for us. We can record, have music. But mainly I want it to be kind of more of a learning Arts aid coordinate. So I definitely need the best of the best who's already are knowledgeable about that to put in position. So that's the purpose of me having people that are already skilled in things that I'm not, because I can always have my own business and govern and be involved with them, but I want to put the best in position is what I'm saying. I want to have everybody judge people fairly, and I'm not going to be going off of what I like and who I like, or it's not going to be sitting around culture or people you know what I'm saying? No, I want to give every nation a fair shot. So when I do interviews, it's going to be based on a non-biased approach. So that's why it says I'm a diplomat, I'm fair, because I know for my business to run great, I need to have a person that has the ability to create these things for me. So hopefully I can find some good people that are willing to join my board and see what life gets them, and we can build a great entity in the land for business and create some new jobs for people. So I'm looking for a small business, maybe like I said, 200 to 300 employees at the most. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. And so the Arts Aid correlate is the education app. So that's going to be the education app with filling out all these things up, like the Unscramble, the Zuka. Like you'll be able to like click on things that you want to like participate in. It's like an educational app. Okay. All right. So Angel 7. Hold on a second. All right. So Angel 7 pathway. Always remember that I deal with revelation, wisdom, solitude, isolation, enlightenment, and self-awareness. So when you see me or you have a mark of 7, that's what I represent. And that's kind of why in the 1970s was a lot of, you know, like I said, a lot of departure from families. That's when the divide of families started happening in the Americas everywhere, because the spirit had to exist. And I think it was a purpose before our children got caught too deep in it. So I think the spirit allowed it to go like it wanted to within the 7s. And so that's why you see we are the children, the 90s, we're the children from the experience of the 70s. And guess what? I'm the experience of my mother and father generation of the 50s. So that's what set me apart too from my other previous sisters, because they were actually experiencing it. Like they were born in the 70s. But my parents is what birthed them. So that's what saved me, is the little bit of wisdom that I had before the 70s, to be able to understand, you know, mom and dad journey a little bit better, and how they made it through all of these divides in America, and they still was together after all these years. It's kind of amazing. It's rare, but it happens. And so if they could do it, it's no way that the 70s children could not be together. So I don't know why the sisters and brothers in the 70s could not, something happened in America where they couldn't stay together. Something where a lot of broken homes happen. And I seen it in the males that's born in the 70s. They have multiple households, and the females from the 70s have multiple households. So something happened where they start apart, and like I said, I know for a fact I deal with solitude, isolation, enlightenment, and self-awareness. So maybe that was for them to learn a lesson somewhere. A lesson should have been taught to learn, or somewhere, it started to being, a rejection happening. So it makes sense. A rejection started happening in the 70s. It's pointing to that age range. And so in order for us to experience a better future, and for us to understand not to make the same mistakes, we have to go. And so that's why my code shy, I'm assigned at the end. So I'm assigned to those at the end of a lot of things that have occurred. Okay, so remember, September 27 is my birth code. English 727 is my birth code in Hebrew. All right, so we said what? 2 plus 7 equals 9. So I'm 9 self. And 9 plus 2 equals 11 mastery. Mastery of self is 9. So 7 plus 2 is 9. So I'm on the 9th level. And 7 plus 9 is 16. When you break down that 16, 1 plus 6 equals 7. And that code 16. So remember, 716 is a divine birth too. So I'm going to check into a little bit more 716 because I've been getting that code too. So shout out to the 716 codes. Something going on with y'all too. Code 7979. So this is your personal code to reach me. Well, basically my code that I'll be, working under with y'all in the land, so you'll understand me a little bit better, and you'll know that, hey, when you get in this, that means I'm trying to give you a personal revelation of something around you that you need to know, some truth. I'm giving you some wisdom, and then I may be requiring you to be solitude or isolated. Also, I'm going to give you a little enlightenment. You'll start getting some type of things in your downloads that's probably different from the regular. But don't, panic or anything like that. I want you to stay solitude, self-awareness, and I don't want you to speak everything that is download, because I don't want you to be persecuted. So these things is definitely meant to be balanced. So y'all don't go off the deep end with it. Okay, so just know that you're not insane. Nothing's happening to you when you're getting these things. You're not understanding what the spirit trying to tell you. Just accept whatever it is. Don't deny it. If it's opening your eyes to something, just checking into it. If you confirm it, do what you need to do, but don't go speaking to anybody about it that you definitely don't trust, or outside of your team support line. Okay, don't do it. Just talk to your team support line that you have built a bond and a trust with. If it's something that you need to discuss, that you have came to know of new evidence for something. Okay, so I want y'all to be aware that yes, something definitely happened, but we're all gonna be okay. But it's everywhere I've been went inside of America that I've met people coming from that timeline. They'll be like 50 years old. I think my older sister, she's 50. It's something they live through some stuff, and everybody I see in that age range has multiple houses, from the women to the men. So for them to talk about the 90s, and that's why the 90s is clearing this up. That's why the 90s is the fatherless generation. In the end, what did the prophecy say? We're desolate. We're fatherless, we're motherless, we're raising ourselves. We're in a desolate state in America. A lot of things has taken its course in its place of judgment and things. So I've experienced that from an in-town around me, from the generation I lived in. Mainly everybody I went to school with had single mothers. I'm just being honest. Single mothers. It was like, my case was rare because my parents are still in their 50s and they're still together, and they have lived through all of this warfare in the earth. So it was like, darn, I could relate to them being an old soul, understanding it, but I couldn't relate to it at the same time because I didn't have that type of, so it's already being born of an old soul, let alone having an old set of traditional parents, and then having to live in actually the generation that it's happening in. I had to deal with all of that in one time, and you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely something different I had to live, of experience that made me who I am. to be able to come forth to share and deliver a lot more things for my youth to be excited. And so the good news for my youth is we're not under those old bondages and things of our old, ways of the old covenant. So we are being targeted a lot. The youth is dying a little bit earlier than the boomers because they control the world. They were the generation that birthed the 70s. So let alone we have them still in control of the world, but we also have that experience of the 70s that happening. So, so it's kind of like love or hate war kind of thing. So we got to get over that part with them. And so we got to help them through that and understand where they went wrong. And it's time for everybody to be humble, and that the 90s was the blessing. Why you think in the world, everywhere in the world, the 90s was blessed? Nobody can deny those facts. When we came, when our generation came, everybody had the best parts. Every nation, musical wise, everything was just heaven. Everything was just manifesting good. So we are the children of a good experience. Don't get it twisted. The heavens came. We are the last. So we're like the last of the 1900s era, period. We're the last. And so this new stuff is the 21st century. This is new. My children are part of the new 2000 millennium. So they represent the new ring of crystals, like our new souls coming. We're coming back. We're going to be ringing. We're going to be the children because they're getting older now. So my parents, 66, 67, they're getting older. So the boomers are finna be retired. So it's time for them to get a level of transition of power. It's going to happen in the earth. In a lot of ways it's going to happen. But I believe my mother's generation was the generation that the 666 game changes happened, where it had to be and I'm saying them having to go under that type of bondage and things happening to them. Plus, you remember a lot of sacrifices of great leaders happened in the 60s, and then another great sacrifices all happened in the 9s. You've seen that 6 and 9 backwards exchange happening of what's been going on. And so that's why the 7 is the pathway parting for y'all to come through, so y'all won't get discouraged off. So I did, like I said, print this out too. This is good to print out because this is going to be your educational block. So when you see it on Instagram, so you'll see this will be an education block with what I'm doing now for you all. And so I'm molding my business portfolio for my academic plan, right? And so remember getting your green subject book. This is where your anthropology reads are going to be in. So I do them off of my notebook, and I keep them in my notebook, and I'm going to be writing with a marker. These are my anthropology. So anthropology reads were only going to be on my inside of my notebook, all right? And so my folders is specifically, like I said, for our breakdown. Okay. All right, so now let's end it with our summary because I'm at 47 minutes. So now let's end it with our summary, which is our example of going over, and I'm going to end y'all with a little homework to do, okay? And so now we're going to leave it with the example, which would be your education PH, means I'm a psychiatrist. Remember, psychiatrists do your psychical reads, and I help and protect y'all from psychological warfare. So I help you overcome the psychological warfare in your realities, kind of parting you, helping you get past things and treatment. Okay, so we'll go over a little bit more of my duties. So giving you pure doctrine, a pure education, a better way. Okay. And so the examples of report. So MCT is my medical center transcript. So what I'm doing right now will always be like a medical center transcript as your MCT, reporting your anthropology reads, reporting your things like that. Okay, so greet with your personal code. All right, put it right there so we'll know. All right, so greet with your personal code, which we said my personal code is what? AY, okay, at. So we're always going to put at AY Libra 993 is my education code. Again, I am forming everybody's of the divine code. So, and I'm also going to do a visual where I post it under the comments, as if people, when they come in, to show y'all how y'all do it when you come in, to post your individual code. So therefore we'll have that part established, so everybody can pick whichever they want according to your birth code. So I'll be creating that for y'all, so y'all don't have to worry about that part of kind of coming up with something. Y'all will have many opportunities inside of the program to come up with your own creative other little things of work. Like you can create your own style of how you're gonna write it. Long as y'all are on court of the structure, y'all can type it or write it within whatever you want to write it and type it in. But long as you keep to the structure of giving me the answer, okay? So, and all roll call attendance will be all the codes received in that month. So I gave y'all an example when I finished the January code. So I'm gonna always come in each day of the January. For example, each day of January I gave our code. So every time I do an anthropology read, I'm gonna read your roll call. Every month there would be different roll calls, as I said, and some would maybe transition to the next month again, so you'll be called. Okay, so your birth code is an anonymous, okay, choice or a divine birth. So I'm gonna do it on divine births. Okay, we can maybe 1 or 2 times I may do an anonymous, but most time it's gonna be of those 120 birth codes. Okay, a divine birth code 120, and sometimes I may do a small anonymous one outside of the birth codes, divine birth codes. Okay, but we're going to focus on the divine birth codes. All right, so because I have to get them in position for everybody else to fall in order for things to get peaceful, so I have to do those ones first so everything can be back balanced. All right, so the symbol be 1 through 5 and the Tunisium Codex. Okay, so signature symbol, right? So the code, medical terminology of English database. Next would be CADA login for Tunisium construct or guiding and teaching for students of life. 3, brief. So you're going to do a brief database of the definition for a topic, the introduction to a choice of profession for the sign of the day. Okay, so your MT report. All right, so you would list the 8 will always be center, right? So the 8 list always around center. So once I'm going to show y'all. Like I said, I printed one for example that I'm going to go through. So I'm going to print another one for example, and I'm going to fill in the blank like we did with, we said a forensic science was one, and then we're going to fill out all the ones for Earth, and then I'll post it, okay? And so it's make sure you're going to do something like that, and we're going to bring that to life, cut it out, you know, we'll form some things so y'all can do on the board too. So teaching y'all how to do your manifestation board. So when I get a board, I'll be able to post this, put it on there so you can kind of see. We'll do visuals like that where you can kind of see and be able to, like, know in the moment in session what's on the center and what we're going to be around to do. So your personality interests, like I said, you label your 8 personality interests, which is in your hands, so your palms. So it means you're grabbing, you got a wish right there in your hands. So, you know, something about, you know, your profession you want to wish for, you want to pray about, you want to seek about, you want to understand more about. So you interested in. So you're grabbing hold of your hand. Okay. All right. And so 6 would be the characteristics, and meaning you would have a choice of animal kind, angel, which would be the human kind, angel, human kind, earthling, and beast kind. All right, so pottery and clothing designs will equal your hand. Okay, what you're going to create with your hand. 7 would be your birthstone, which you're going to describe your arm. That'll be dealing with your arm, which would be jewelry and accessories, which you're going to be doing. 8 would be your ritual, which would be your initiative, name, and hair. Okay, so I always use hair. Like I said, I cut my hair and I put it up, my dreads. I got a whole bunch of in my plastic bag put up when I had my dreads to form different things with or put a little bit in. So you want to use your own living source if you are the living source. So something like that, you can use your own little small hair when you're creating things to put and to create on things, just like they do when they kill animals and make stuff with in this world with and all of that. So I use living things, though, real things. I don't use, animal things. But you can, but that's for the nature protection. It's not for human protection, right? To apply the wisdom to gain currency, to attract your monies for your giveaways, your drawing, your charity businesses for the future, okay? Make sure you use natural resources and remedies for events and stage performance, okay? 9 will be your ET classification, which your ET classification meaning you're going to put it into a transitional state, a transformation, or a reformation. So it's like dead, living, alive, state of existence. All right. So note the part to change, shift, and reveal one reality. So you'll be either changing a person's reality, shifting their reality, or revealing their reality to them.
And she is revealing my reality right now, y'all. I am so being shifted in the spirit.
Stop. So 10 is the remarks, which will be your guidance, your advisement tips, guys. So something like what I was saying when I ended the other one, where you just kind of give a brief example of how you touching base on what you feel would be a great way that a person is supposed to move, like we said, within the prisons and signs, giving you a little example of what I would think I would be good at, how to move it toward, giving you advisement tips, pointing out the details, points that would make y'all good, like I said, one of those things. So your step 1 in the remarks would be your scripture read. So always leave it out with a scripture read. You can also create your own scripture read, which we'll eventually be getting to that. Step 2 would be your ETA, which would be your footnote, would be your etymology footnote when you're reading. So you're breaking down the code of what the English language is saying, where it says bear. So we'll understand what bear is inside of another form of way where you're bearing something and not talking about an animal, but now you're basically dealing with the etymology code breakdown. So make sure you put that as your step 2. All right, your step 3 would be your summary, which equals your disclosure of the day read for rights, okay, for night peaceful restings, okay. So I always put disclosure of the day read, but it's peaceful for the night restings, okay. And so that'll be your information. So a peaceful order of transition power act or transition to directing from the hospital to the home. So that's a transitional, a change, a shift, or a state. So that was an example of that, okay? All right, so we already went over the audition. So here's the rules. So the instructions for 8 after Shift 8 Academy, after Graham Reed, which is 30 days, right? Remember, 30 days in a month we're going off of. So you get 2 times a week color-coded hands, all right? So you get 2 hands of motion or read for the week because you only have 8 houses. Remember, we have 8 houses. With the G code, the Greek way, we have 8 houses, okay? I represent the 7 houses, bringing forth everything to the 8 houses. So kind of giving y'all a visual of me, giving y'all a win through the electronic device for it to spread and go and do its source. And so when I come back void, where it says I say what I say and it should not return to me void, right? So I'm giving y'all 8 houses a little bit more things and understanding. So representing and putting on for house 7, okay? And so 120, so always these are the rules. You get 8 houses, there's 120 divine bursts because we said each month you get 10 divine bursts for each month. And so we're going over to 10 soon. And so your roll call each month would have 30 COB. So COB means codes of birth. Okay, codes of birth, 30 days, 30 dates. Okay, each sign will get up to 8 reads for their home project every year. So I would not do like this year. I did one already for Earth. Earth has 7 more that can be done within this year. But no house would be given more than 8 reads, okay, for their particular sign. So Earth has 7 more. So now we're going to be doing Aries next, okay, for home project. Then we'll get into Sagittarius, and then we'll get into maybe Taurus and different things. So next we'll be doing Aries home projects of what to work on. So this part is where my husband come into when we said about the birthstone, arm, jewelry, accessories in the hand. So once I form my anthropology read or reform my anthropology reads, and the students, y'all will have a choice of your spouse. And if some of your spouses, or you have a spouse that's able to design, create, sew, or you can go to someone that do next your assignment for your home project to fashion your home, your designments. You can get him to draw your designs, okay? So next I would talk to my husband and help him, give him kind of like a little blueprint or something, like kind of like tell him what I want, what I'm looking for, what kind of material. And so like I would like have him draw my exact blueprint of design of now my clothing, which would be green and purple, and then my accessory bag. So then that's when that's when he gets work for his assignment. And then when he does that part, he gives it back to me. I put it on my board, my visual board, and now I get to working with my hands and doing it exactly the way that I wanted to be done in my manifestation of when he did my design of how it was gonna look. And so that's just an example of how it is going to work for me on a course. So all y'all going to have a home project. So each year, 8. Okay. So I'll put these small notes underneath. Hope y'all enjoyed this clip of the code of the day example for December the 8th, 2023. And your homework is going to be due on March the 28th, 2024, which will be a reading test. We have a practice English comprehension and punctuation I would post. And it says a modern blacksmith preview example. Okay, so we're going to just give you the paragraph. The paragraph will be, you will probably never find his name in a history book, but to this day, Walter Lee continues to contribute to American heritage. Walter Lee is an old-fashioned, modern-day blacksmith who still practices the fine art of manipulating metal over a hot fire. In his words, blacksmithing is no dying art. So then you would say, what is the punctuation? So I'm doing it at the notes. What is the punctuations? The matter of speaking is without vulgar, massive energy or frustration, which is vex of the spirit. Okay, so that's the manner of speaking. I want y'all to do without, vulgar, massive energy or frustration that vexes the spirit. So we are supposed to be moving more in I wouldn't say you could be more feminine, but you are supposed to be doing more gentle and softness, males or in females, when it comes to communication. All right, it's just not, it doesn't vex the spirit, which our mother spirit lives in us all. So we're careful not to disturb that and kind of blaspheme it, or just put it in a vexation type of part. So make sure we're not doing that. Okay. So how do you indicate punctuation in writing? Use your holographic or pictogram. So that's why my language is a pictographic. So I'll always give y'all a visual of what I'm saying in my words, or a clip, or imagery, a symbolization, because I deal with a visionary. I'm a visionary, not a missionary. Okay. And so pictogram, so this is be your transcript, like really to represent a word pronunciation, which is my alphabet, represent my alphabet or my alphabet. So studying grammar nations, right? Grammarian parts, okay, for creating Tunisian language. So I love you all. You have a wonderful evening. I'll post some of this under the video with notes, and you can seek the blog to do your next discussion I'll be doing for y'all, to just a little brain teaser to kind of move y'all in the way of how we're going to really structure this thing. All right, love you. Thank y'all for tuning in. See you later.